So I don't have an instrument today. Hi, Tim Crosby here with you. But what we're going to talk about is one of those important things that, well, we might hate or we might have not thought of. In my case, I even included the line in a song, "You know I don't like the TikTok man." We're going to talk about metronomes, the TikTok man, and no, a metronome is not that little guy in a pointy red hat that lives in the city and goes to fern bars. This is okay. Here's the story. Kathy and I spent quite a bit of time here just recently in the recording studio working on our new album. And in preparation to go in the studio, we thought, oh, well, let's get out the metronome and make sure that we know what tempo, what speed, all of the songs that we are going to record, what speed they're going to be, and then work with the metronome to make sure that we're in time all the time. And we did quite a bit of work prepping up for going in the studio, and it turns out that it wasn't enough. Almost. It made it easier, but yeah, so I've been the poster child for saying I hate metronomes. Well, I still hate metronomes, but I got to come to terms with them, and probably so should you, with one exception. Here's why not to use a metronome. If you're just starting out playing your instrument and you're still working on the mechanics, where do I put my fingers? I put my fingers here, working on chords on the guitar, the banjo. Where do you put your fingers with the fiddle? Get your mechanics down first. So it may be a while, if you're just starting out, maybe a while before it makes sense for you to start using a metronome. A lot of teachers, a lot of YouTube videos and such say, start right out with a metronome, you'll be happy. Now you got too many other things to think about. But once you start coming to terms, so your hands and your body and your moves start getting to where you can do those moves reliably, then it's time to start doing the metronome. Okay, it's the mechanics. So here's the philosophy of the metronome. It comes from a quotation from Colin Powell. Colin Powell said, he did. He said, slow is smooth, and smooth is fast. Let me repeat that legibly. Slow is smooth, and smooth is fast. So you can't go from slow to fast without getting the smooth, which means you got to work on your slow. And that's where the metronome comes in. So whether you're a rhythm player or a melody player or a combination player, most instruments do a little bit of each. Whether it's a keyboard or a stringed instrument, you're going to do some rhythm stuff, you're going to do some melody stuff. Here's the way to approach it. So rhythm guitar or mandolin, playing bluegrass chop chord rhythm. I mean, you're the snare drum as a bluegrass mandolin player. Chops on the fiddle, chunks on the banjo. You're going to be playing rhythm. So you're going to want to use your chord progressions, the ones that you're working on, with the metronome so that you can get your chord changes, your right hand hits, whether it's with a bow or with a pick or picks, to be in time. If you're a melody player, play your scales according to the metronome. We're going to talk about how to use the metronome doing all these things in just a moment. But play your scales, or if you're beyond, well, you should still be playing scales all of your life. Every time you take your instrument out of the case, that's another whole topic, and play it against the metronome. So what do? With the metronome, you start really slow so that it goes tick, tock. Oh, here's one. We're going to talk about devices in a minute. That might seem painfully slow to you, and it is. And the pain is worth it. So start out really, really slow and playing whatever it is that you're playing so that you can play at that speed That slow speed, and not get ahead of it. And then you start gradually creeping up on it. And at first, it should feel like creeping up on the faster tempo, you don't even notice. And that's the point, because what you're trying to do is trick your brain into learning where those beats fall. Here's a neurology of it. Read this, or I saw a TED Talk about it. There are a couple of structures actually in your brain, that physical structures that only light up when they do an MRI, right? They only light up when you're doing something rhythmic or listening to something rhythmic. So we have metronomes built into our brain, and all you have to do is train your metronome. So you start out really slow, you creep up faster and faster and faster and faster. It helps you get the mechanics of what you're doing down, and then that speeds up because it's your whole body doing it. If you're already an accomplished player and you can play stuff pretty fast, go the other way. Take the stuff that you can play fast and turn it down really slow so that you get that absolute lock in on the tempo. Here's another tip. Set your metronome as you're practicing to the tempo that you want to play with, and then do a little arithmetic and set your metronome twice as fast as the speed you're going. It's easier to hear. This is a good tip for any metronome playing. If you're going tick, tock, and it's hard to hear and you're playing other notes, set it to go tick, tock, tick, tock, tick, tock, tick, tock. Set it twice as fast. The reverse is also true. When you get to where you can go reliably with the beat and stay right on the beat, set it at halftime so that you've got a big gap, and it forces your brain to keep up with those beats and still land on it. Set it at a quarter of the time. This is really hard. So you're going 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. And that metronome's going to just hit the 1, but you've got to do in your brain, in your body, the 2 and the 3 and the 4, and hit that 1 again reliably. These are all cool things. By the way, there's a bunch of cool discussions, a bunch of cool YouTubes out there that talk about all of this and a whole lot more. Go find other people's perspectives of it. Okay, last thing. What about the actual machine that you use? You saw me use this. I've had this for many years. It's so old, it takes a 9-volt battery. It does not recharge with a USB cable. And the earbud that it used to have is one of those big plastic white one thing. But they're sometimes hard to hear, right? When you're going like that and you're playing along with it, it's sometimes hard to hear it. Doesn't have a volume control. Watch the little light. You've maybe seen pictures of, or maybe your grandmother had, or maybe somebody you know closely has one of the old pyramid wooden boxes with a little thing. Those are cool too. Here's the metronome in your pocket. You've probably got a smartphone of some sort. Any number of apps right there on your cell phone have a metronome. Do a Google search. Kathy was telling me about one that's included with another app, I think is for a guitar or something, a little sidebar. One of the buttons on it, it has a button that said, at first I thought it said brain tumor, but consonants save lives. It's a brain tuner with an N, a brain tuner. And turns out it's the A440 sound that gets your brain tuned to that sound. mentioned that sometimes these guys are hard to hear. My all-time favorite, I haven't used this particular machine, but a drum machine, which changes the sound of that into the sounds of a drum kit. So I'm borrowing this from a friend, and we're going to try it out. It's a Boss Rhythm Partner. They're a little spendy, but it does all the drum sounds. To sum it up, use a metronome. Most of your practice sessions, not all of it, no, because you got other things to work on also, but some of every practice session, you would do very well to use the tick-tock. And that's my sermon on metronomes. And I'm going to actually, after I'm done right now, go turn on the metronome and do some practicing with one. I'm Tim Crosby. I'm glad you're here. See you on the websites.